The man that single-handedly took the Guardians of the Galaxy, the obscure comic book franchise, and made it a worldwide phenomenon, now offers his reaction to the reveal of the Guardians video game, and people are starting to suspect that maybe he's lying about not being involved with it, which I don't think is true. After the reveal of the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, James Gunn was quick to offer his reaction, saying that it was very cool and that he cannot wait to play the game. One thing he wanted to know about was why exactly does Groot have this weird looking purple space llama thing, and that he's excited to find out more about that. Now, quite obviously, by now, it should be very evident that James Gunn is a gamer. He's talked about video games, how much he loves to play them, some of his favorite games, and all that, so we know that he is one of these people who, despite being on the older side of things, as people will put it, he plays video games, which is pretty awesome, right? Like, he's one of us, a nerd. He loves video games as well. We can see that in all his work, so it's pretty great. So, in that reaction, people are trying to dig in and try to figure out if he's lying about anything, because they figure, well, he invented the Guardians of the Galaxy, why wouldn't they ask him for his input? First and foremost, the people replying with that in the comments or anything, bad news for you. He didn't invent the Guardians of the Galaxy. They've been around since like the 70s, I want to say. Maybe it was the 80s. They've been around forever. He just invented the version that these versions are based on, which is quite clearly the movie versions that they're very blatantly trying to rip off without saying, hey, we want you to recognize them because of the movies. And then there is the other side of it, people saying, well, clearly he had to be involved with this. Why wouldn't he be? It's the Guardians of the Galaxy. And here's the thing. If James Gunn was involved with this game, with coming up with the concepts, ideas, designs, or anything, he would have been there during the reveal and they would have said, James Gunn has joined us and he crafted this aspect of it. We really wanted it to feel like a James Gunn at heart, but it's also our own take. I mean, you see this every time they get somebody who's big in anything outside of gaming that joins a video game. They splat them all over everything because they're recognizable. They're famous. They're not part of the game industry. The game industry's tiny. They still got this perception that gaming is somehow not as big as the other mediums, despite the fact that it is, and in some ways way bigger. So if James Gunn was involved, you can guarantee that his name would be slapped all over the place, literally everywhere. I mean, look at From Software and what they're doing with the Elden Ring. Do you guys really think George R.R. Martin was involved with the crafting of the combat or the direction of the game? No, he wrote some lore for them and said, this is kind of the world that I have an idea for. Clearly, it's still a From Software universe game, and it looks like it and feels like it, but George R.R. Martin was involved, and his name is all over that thing. It would be the same thing with James Gunn.